High fly down the right field line, headed toward the pesky pole. That one tucked in, and that ball is going to be against the wall and into second base. Number retired, and now Rafael Devers trying to retire that baseball inside the pesky pole.
Well, welcome to another episode of the Pesky Podcast. I'm your host, Ritt. With me is my co-host, my man DC. And today we are high on the hog. We've got Hogdale here. So let's start off with you, DC. What's been going on, man? How you doing?
Not great. I've been kind of sick. The household's been going through it, but we're here. We're surviving. So I'm feeling a little bit better. So I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, man, I hate being sick. You know, I know how you feel and you know how I feel when we're sick. And I'm miserable, and then I just want to be babied. So
I just took a 4-hour nap, so I should be all right.
But man, all right, we've got a guest here. A good friend of ours, Ed Hand, reached out. He's like, "Hey, how about we do a little cross promotion? You can sit there and have our guys on yours, then we can come over on yours." And I'm always all about that cross promotion. So we've got the man, Mr. Hogdale. So tell everybody a little bit about you, your background, and let's start talking about your new podcast.
Yeah, man. I mean, me, Ed, and Ryan Brady, we started the podcast. It's Pod by the River. Just as a nice little Red Sox podcast. It's gotta say, guys, and you should know this. Like when you're like coming up with a name for a Red Sox podcast, it's a fucking impossible endeavor. Because you won't even believe what people have done to the monster these days. The vile things they've done to it in order to squeeze the branding in. So it's like we're racking our brain for days just trying to think of a name. But yeah, man. I mean, I'm just fucking your typical Red Sox fan, typical Boston sports fan. I'm a large fat man. It's true. And I'm quite jolly. Some would say.
I like your energy, man.
I say we've heard nothing but good things from Ed. So
Ed's my hype man. I swear, hey, I don't deserve him.
Ed had one heck of a time on the podcast when he was on, and well, I don't sit there and think we're going to have any problems today because I think you fit right in quite well. So let's talk a little bit about your new podcast. What made it come about, who's all involved, and let's just go from there.
Yeah, man, it's just it's me, Ed, and Ryan Brady, like guys I collaborated with very frequently on the Pesky Report podcast, and really just Ed and I really just wanted to start off and do our own thing. I have no hatred towards the guys that I was doing stuff with before at the Pesky Report. All very high quality people, love those people. But yeah, I mean, me and Ed have really good chemistry, and I have very good chemistry with Ryan Brady. I didn't get to record as often with him last year as I wanted to, and so we went off, made our own, and I really like where our direction is heading because I love those guys. Those guys are great guys.
You guys have really good chemistry from what I've listened to so far. It's fun to listen to.
I appreciate it. Thank you, dude.
So episode 1 was in the books. Man, you guys just have a great time on there. So tell everybody a little bit about episode 1 and what we can look forward to in the next upcoming episodes.
Oh, I mean, it's just going to be some chicanery, goofballery. I mean, we don't mind being serious, but we're pretty laid back individuals. We like to have a good time. We like to have fun. Although I tend to get angry. I'll bring the anger for the show when it's necessary. But the first episode, we were just having a blast. I think Ed was doing a little debate segment where he assigned us a topic to debate on, and that was so fun. I think one was we had to argue about whether or not a hot dog was a sandwich. One of them was argue about the Star Wars movies, which I think was funny, but yeah. Just a good time. I'm very excited for this off season to get going. So we'll have real meat and potatoes baseball things to talk about.
Well, off season has started, and let's just go right from there. We're going to first topic's going to be, which free agent would you sign not named Ohtani? Because I'm pretty sure we would all sit there and say Ohtani would be our must sign. I know I would. So Ohtani's off the table. Who are we going to bring in and why? So DC, let's start off with you. What free agent are you going to open that checkbook up for and bring to the Boston Red Sox?
I'm going to do a little two-parter because obviously I think the obvious answer is to bring in a guy like Yamamoto. Obviously, we need a guy on top of the rotation that is going to get innings, strike people out that we haven't really had. But I'm going to go Whit Merrifield. I'm going to go small signing. I think they're the ones that kind of get you in the win column. Obviously, the big names are a big splash, but you know how much I like those small signings. Well, not small, but a la Chris Martin last year. Such a not really looked at move, but he was huge. He was one of the biggest pieces of our team. I think Merrifield comes in, plays a good second base, serviceable. He can play outfield if we need it. Obviously we don't need outfielders right now, but I'm going to go Whit Merrifield. Go off the beaten path a little bit.
DC, I'm going to tell you right now, if we get Merrifield and he is like the unsung hero of the Red Sox, that'll be 2 for 2 for you. And I'm going to have to sit there and talk to someone to get you some sort of scout job because last year in the off season, you were pushing for Martin hard, and I was like, okay, Martin's good, but then look at what he did this season, which was like, wait a minute, are you sure this ERA is correct? Like, it is ridiculously low, and it was ridiculous. Hogdale, what did you think, real quick, on Martin this season coming in?
I mean, it's debatable that he was the best player on the Red Sox this year. He was phenomenal. It really is a crying shame that we didn't get to see him in the playoffs. I mean, his performance as a reliever was like the best we've seen for the Red Sox since like 2013 Koji. Like he was special, just completely special.
Yeah, my personal thing is, if the All-Star game was at the end of the season, Kenley wouldn't have been representing us. Martin would have been in there hands down.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But, DC, I love Merrifield overall. Like,
I mean, obviously, I want a big name guy, but
yeah.
I think it's a smaller moves that you got to put together that bring that consistency each and every day. And he's a depth move too. At the end of the day, you could start, but move him around if you need to.
So, Hogdale, what about you? Who you signing, big guy?
I mean, I'm pretty simple in this regard. I've been banging the drum for this for as long as a year and a half now. It's like Yamamoto's your guy. You go sign him. To me, I said this a few days ago, but if the Red Sox don't at least give him the best offer, like this offseason's a failure. Like you make him say no to you. Like if he says no to you, that's completely fine. Like I can accept that, go after someone else, maybe go get Aaron Nola instead. But to me, Yamamoto is what this team needs. He's so definitive in that. He's probably he might be the best pitcher to ever come out of Japan. It's debatable until Sasaki comes out in 2.5 years. But
yeah,
I mean, dude, Yamamoto's special. This dude's insane. I mean, he's won 3 straight of the NPB equivalent to the Cy Young. I think he had a 1.2 ERA this season in Japan. Japan is not even close to a bum league. It's above AAA in terms of quality. To me, you got to get Yamamoto. At least give him the best offer he has on the table.
Didn't Yamamoto win their equivalent to the Triple Crown also? For a
I believe
pitcher?
so. I wouldn't be surprised.
So, Yamamoto is one of those guys, well, like you said, that you see every, 2-3 years coming out of Japan. And the Mets are one of the teams that are saying they're going to give everything for it. But if Boston doesn't, I love how this offseason, I have not heard anything from Koji Urahara for quite some time. Now all of a sudden we got Yamamoto, Shohei's the free agent. Who's the reliever in Japan coming out also?
Oh, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I completely forgot.
I can't say his last name, so that's why. But you got the reliever in Japan, and now all of a sudden, Koji Urahara is the Japanese face for the Red Sox, and you see him more and more now, and I love it. So, but Hog, you went starting pitcher. DC, you went smaller move with Whit Merrifield. I am going to bring in Haterade, Josh Hader. I love the guy. He will sit there and he could be you could ultimately, Alex Cora, if he doesn't blow up the bullpen again this season, he could be your left-handed closer. Kenley can be your right-handed closer. Kenley's gone, possibly after next season. Slide Hader right into your closer role, and that's who I would bring in. You got starting pitching. I guarantee you the Red Sox is going to sit there and get, but I want to solidify this bullpen a little bit more, and not just for this season, but for the future. So, what do you guys think about Josh Hader? DC?
I mean, yeah, he's been a stud how many years now? I don't know. I don't know if he'd want to come into a situation where he wasn't the main guy. That's the only thing that worries me. But obviously, you get him at the right price. That's the only thing I worry about is paying two guys, one guy that's not going to be closing all the time, all that money. But like you said, Jensen is he's out after this year, probably most likely. So, I mean, I'm a fan of it, depending how the money looked.
Hog, what about you?
If you want to make a super bullpen, like definitely Josh Hader would be a really good move. I just don't think that the Red Sox are going to be willing to throw the money required at him because of the money that they're going to throw at Yamamoto, Ohtani, if they trade for Juan Soto, like to give him like his contract extension. Because to me, like it's like the Red Sox, like I'm interested in what they're going to do in free agency, and they're going to make some free agent moves. To me, the most interesting thing they're going to do this offseason like revolves around the trade market because like they have all the ammo required to make that gigantic move. And to me, it's just whether or not it's going to be like for that bona fide position bat in Juan Soto, or God forbid you can get Fernando Tatis Jr. instead, or one or the two. Or like if you want to go pitching route and go get Corbin Burns from the Brewers, or maybe try to get Shane Bieber from the Guardians or something like that. So I'm just really intrigued. This is like the most excited I've been for a Red Sox offseason in quite a while.
Yeah, DC knows I'm huge on the Corbin Burns trade. I was putting together a Corbin Burns Woodruff trade, but now I'm a little more interested since they said everybody's available pretty much. A Corbin Burns, Devin Williams combination to bring over here, because that could be another way we bring in to solidify our bullpen also. So,
yeah.
Absolutely. I was wondering how many years of ARB he has left on his contract. I'm going to check.
Who Burns or Williams?
Williams.
Yeah, but Burns is on his last one, but I think Burns would love to sign here long term.
Yeah, you get Williams for 2 more years under ARB. That's sick.
Yeah. So, our next topic. Let's sit there and talk about Alex Cora and Craig Breslow's relationship. It's sit there. It looks like it's pretty mutual. Like they're getting along. It's a lot better on camera than if you look at the Heim Bloom AC relationship. And I still think that those two butted heads, over everything. I don't know for sure, but that's just my opinion. So, Hogdale, let's start with you. What are you thinking about the Breslow AC situation and his comments that he made when asked about an AC extension?
I mean, I think I like the way their relationship is right now. I was getting concerned a few weeks prior, like back when Fables and Dave Bush were still like on this team, that Alex Cora was starting to consolidate a bit too much power, and that I thought it was a bit concerning that like he had a say and like who's going to come be his boss, and like he had a bit too much clout in the organization. But then Carlos Fables and Dave Bush get let go, and you bring in Craig Breslow. So I like where things are at right now. I'm fine holding off on AC's contract extension until the end of the year. I mean, to me, it's not a huge deal. It's one of those things where if they really want to keep him around forever, they're going to keep him around forever. There's no reason to really be concerned about it. Is there going to be a team that's like going to come out and like, outbid the Red Sox for Alex Cora? Like, let's be serious. Like, it's just the Mets, and the Mets are going to get someone else. So,
yeah. DC, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's good that they're building on the relationship. I think that they were teammates very short time in 2006 or something like that. Obviously, he didn't have the choice of who the manager was going to be. Alex Cora was already kind of locked in before he signed with, as the CBO. But it's good that they're working on a relationship. So they were talking daily during the GM meetings before he got canceled. And I'm also fine if they wait till the end of the year. Like Hogdale said, I think, ultimately they want him to be here. He's going to be here. I don't know how long he stays in the manager role. I know there's reports of him trying to get up to the front office at some point in his career. But yeah, it's good to see, especially I was kind of worried how it was going to be with him being already chosen before Breslow signed, because that can be a little awkward. Obviously, you can't bring in all your own guys. So, but it's good that they're working on it.
Yeah, I love how they're both former players, so they have that connection. They know what it's like to be a player. They know what it's like to be on the other side also. So I think one of AC's biggest things was, Chaim Bloom didn't know how to execute the trade, and AC sees that Breslow, at least so far, actions speak louder than words, is not afraid to sit there and make and execute for trades. We might not like him. Real quick, do any of you guys think, or who do you think is not on the trade market coming from our prospects? Hogdale?
If it was like up to me, like the only untouchables like right now would be like what Roman Anthony, Kyle Teal. Like, cause to me, like if you can get Fernando Tatis Jr., I'd fire Marcelo Meyer out of a cannon.
Yeah.
Because like you'd have Tatis for what, like fucking 13 years? Like that's what his contract goes for. So
13 years, and it's not as bad as people think it is.
No, not even a little bit. Like this is a guy.
He played Pepper with the Green Monster.
Oh yeah, I mean he's amazing. Like the right-hander with his kind of power playing in Fenway. Like this is a dude who has the potential to hit 40 home runs. Like as either a shortstop or a right fielder, depending on where you want to play him. I mean, you could play him at shortstop forever, or like if you really want that. I mean, he was amazing in right field defensively for the Padres last year, so he could handle Fenway's right field. But other than like a Fernando Tatis Jr. trade, I'd say Meyer is mostly untouchable. But in that situation, I would trade him. So I'd say Anthony and Teal.
Yeah, I completely agree. I was going to say Anthony and Teal. Obviously, Meyer's up there too. But if you can get the right guy, like you said, Tatis, or throw him in a Robert deal or something like that, you got to pull the trigger.
Me personally, let's just go back a couple of years. DC, you're gonna love this. Remember when Jan Moncada, they said that he was untouchable, and then there was an ace that became available called Chris Sale, and next thing you know, the trade is gone. Moncada went to Chicago. We get Chris Sale. If we can get anybody on Chris Sale's caliber that he was then, I wouldn't be even willing to give up Anthony. And I love me some Anthony. But if we can sit there and get us a number one pitcher, I'd be willing to give up anybody.
Dude, I can't wait till like mid-season once Miguel Blay starts playing again for him to get his value back up, because like that's another dude. Like the hype that Roman Anthony has right now is the hype that Miguel Blay had last offseason. So like if he just shows back up, shows that he's still himself, like that's another big time trade piece that we have.
One thing, I was talking to a scout that's on the Red Sox, and this past draft, everybody's talking about Kyle Teal, but he said talent-wise, in a couple more years, he sees in the projections that Zanatello is just as good as Marcelo Meyer. So I'm kind of curious what Zanatello is going to turn out to be, because technically, if he's anywhere close, we stole him in the draft, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, people love Nazan. I mean, the scouts were raving about him. So I mean, that's another one of those things where like, hey, makes Meyer a bit less untradeable.
Yeah. So next topic is a little bit. We're going to fill out who we would like to be our new first base coach, our new third base coach, our new pitching coach, because God knows Bush last year was absolutely horrible. So let's sit there and Hogdale, who would you sit there and love to bring in for a pitching coach right now?
I'm going to be honest, not extremely well versed on the coach market. I'd say poach someone from the Rays. Literally, go poach someone from the Rays. Go poach someone from the Dodgers or the Giants. Pretty much any one of the teams that have a better cheating lab than we do, because our cheating lab really is not up to par. I'm kind of disgusted with how bad our cheating lab is at the moment. Like, we're not pulling nearly enough dudes out of literally nowhere in order to function as a high-level MLB franchise.
Yeah, the guy I always heard recently was a former teammate of Breslow, Bailey. So
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I can sit there and see him come in. I will love personally, if and this will never happen, but I will love John Lester to come in to sit there and coach. You know, there when we had Crawley on that covers the Cubs, and we were talking about Breslow and everything. You know, he was talking about the young kid over there, Steele, and how Lester would go and call David Ross and be like, "Hey, I seen Steele do this. Have him change it to this." And then, you know, he made the adjustment, and, you know, it turned out fine. If we could sit there and have him do that from the couch, but have him do it at Fenway Park, that would be a freaking absolutely an amazing thing right there.
That'd be dope. I just feel like he's a family man now. You know, he's happy, he's content, made all of his money. Not saying he's about the money, but, you know, he's got everything he needs. Now it's time to spend time with his family.
I think what would happen if they
awesome.
brought John Lester in is they bring him in for like the interview and they discuss the salary, and like just out of old habit, John Harry would be like, "I will offer you 3 nickels." Like, and not a cent more, sir. Not a cent more.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So first or third base, man, I don't know about you guys, but I personally would love a little 2013 reunion. Knapp is available now. I would love to bring Napoli back in. Like I'm talking. We're gonna sit there and take 2013 and merge it with the current Boston Red Sox, and we're not done. Give me David Ross, even though he already said that he won't be a man, anything but a manager anymore. Give me Ross over there at third base.
I would say Knapp, I'm going to have to give a pass on because that dude, even in his prime, could not fucking defend a lick.
Yeah.
You know how they usually call like a really good fielder like a vacuum cleaner? He was like the opposite of a vacuum cleaner as a fucking fielder. He was pushing it back out. He was like,
he's a leaf blower.
He's a leaf blower, exactly.
The other end of the shop vac.
Yeah. Like, that dude could mash, but he could not field a fucking lick. Not as a first baseman, not as a catcher.
Yeah. There's always like, I would love Pedroia coming in as a hitting coach. You know, Pedroia's, you know, he still got his kids baseball. Pedro's another one I would love, but they say they can teach you so much and not have to be that manager, you know, that pitching coach or anything like that. So it's just something that all these names are out there of former Red Sox players, and me, I'm the type of guy, it's 50-50. Let's bring them home. But if you bring them home and they don't do good, well, then that might tarnish their whole legacy they ever had. So, but Hogdale, we're going to sit there and play one of our favorite games after this quick commercial break. Fair or foul? So DC loves this. So we'll get back with you right after this quick commercial break. Guys, this is the Ritt here on the Pesky Podcast. Head on over to our website. Use the QR code right over there. Get some of your great merchandise, like our Pesky Podcast logo shirt. This is our fucking city shirt. The Roman Empire joined the growing legion. Our Halkamania shirt. Our Mi Casas Es Su Casas. We've got the Pesky Podcast hoodies. We've got glassware. Guys, just scan the QR code. Check it out. And have a great day. Guys, you heard it there.
Yeah.
That is the quickest commercial because I got so tired of saying it all the time.
I feel like you're seductively like lecturing me. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, but you know, I didn't know what I was watching.
The stare, like the.
Hey, whatever works. DC, where's your Halkamania shirt at?
Dude, it's in the wash.
Oh, shit.
It's always in the wash.
I wore it the other day, and I holy shit, that was fun. No, it was good, man. It just, I feel something now.
So, but now let's break it out. We're gonna play a little fair or foul. So, Hogdale, you know the rules of the game. Pretty simple, almost like what you guys do on your podcast, except for we don't have to debate back and forth to the death. So, first topic. Devers earned his first year of his huge contract. So, DC, we're going to start off with you. Fair or foul?
I'm going to go fair. Here he had a down year. He's a silver slugger now. 33 home runs, 100 RBIs, 850 something OPS. Obviously, he went. I don't know. People expect him to hit 40 home runs, 120 RBIs every year. His defense was suspect, but I think first year, I think he did just fine. I think there's a little bit of a overreaction. I know, like I said, the defense could be a problem, but I think that can get cleaned up. I think he's going to, make that a point of emphasis this offseason, but I'm going to go fair.
Okay. Hogdale, what about you?
I'll say foul because it was a down year by Rafael Devers' expectations. I'm not saying that like he's bad or that he's trash or that he's not going to live up to it next year even. But like in terms of like, it was just a step back in every way for Rafi. Like his hitting was slightly worse and his defense was as bad as it's been in the last 5 years. And you know what? Maybe you can chalk it up to Carlos Fables being a war criminal. And, maybe I would even agree with you because like the entire team's defense was completely a fucking joke. But I mean, Rafi needs to play better, like in order to live up to that contract. Like we didn't pay for a glorified DH in, year one. Like, can he even be like, just be a net neutral with the glove, even be like a -1 or 2 defensive runs saved. And like, I can completely tolerate it. But, I have full confidence that he'll get back to himself next year. Get a new defensive coach in there, help him out. I love him. I got a lot of faith in him, but he did underperform expectations this year.
And I'm going to have to agree with you, Hogdale. I'm going to go foul. For what he wants to do, I don't think we can put him at number, batting second. I think he needs protected a little more. I say move him back to third, maybe. His defense, that glove, you can't sit there and have a phenomenal play to first one, and then the next time the ball is hit to you, you're throwing it to the first base, fans. Like, that's just horrible. You can't sit there. You got to be consistent. Or like you said, Hogdale, find a happy medium. His batting stats was, it was a down year, but it was still good enough for a Silver Slugger award. So overall, I can see, and I want more from him. Would
you guys go fair if the defensive woes weren't there? Because I mean, his offensive numbers aren't really that much different. I mean, he had 38 and 113, 890 OPS in 2021, but last year was kind of a
thing. Is like he hit for a bit less average. He didn't walk as much, but the glove was the real significant bad. Like it was it was horrible this year. Like usually he's just like slightly bad. Like just looking at like wins above replacement here, like really tells the story. Like Rafi was a 3-win player this year. The year before that, he was a 4.8. He was almost a 5-win player last year. And the year before that, he was a 4.2 win player. So like that's a significant drop in terms of like what he's capable of. And again, like I love him. I really think he's going to figure this out because he has all the talent in the world. But like he's got to step up, especially like when you sign that big of a contract, and he earned that contract, but you got to live up to it, man.
Yeah, I'm agreeing. If it wasn't for the defense, and if he would just be consistent, if he wants to be consistent, like Hogdale said, -1, -2, I'd be okay with it.
If he was like a net neutral, like at defense, like Austin Riley was this year. Like Austin Riley was like a 5 or a 6-win player this year, like with neutral defense.
Yeah. So, and if it wasn't for his defense, and I can't blame him. It was that whole side, until Trevor Story came back. I swear there had to be some games where Kike and Devers were going back and forth. Who could throw it? Who could throw it away from the first baseman the most? So, but next question for fair or foul. We're gonna start with you, Hogdale. Breslow is too open with the media when he's talking.
I think that's foul. I mean, it's not like he's revealed any trade secrets. Like fucking, he's got the laptop open, like, hey guys, here's our entire prospect system. Here's how we rank things. 1 through 50. To me, he's fine. Like, is this maybe like an overreaction to like people like thinking that Heim being so airtight, like with what he let out to the media, like is like, oh, it's a bad thing that Breslow's slightly more open? I mean, I don't think so. I think it's good that he builds a respectful relationship with the media. If it really just shows like it'll make his job easier in the long term. I'm pretty sure part of the reason that people were so apt to get Chaim Bloom out is because every member of the media despised him because he literally let nothing leak.
Exactly. DC, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go foul. I don't think he's too open. Honestly, I like it. It's a breath of fresh air, obviously, with the whole the way Heim handled the media. And yeah, Hogdale was right. Hey. You got to create that
Love that.
You got to create that relationship with the media. And also, you got to be a little transparent with these fans. Obviously, they're not too happy. Red Sox Nation's pretty pissed off with how ownership's handled everything. I like that he's like that. Like he said, he's not handing out trade secrets or any intel that we can't hear. It's going to hurt them. So I'm a big fan of it. I think it's going to do them well in the long run.
Yeah, I kind of sit there. I'm going to agree with you guys. I do like, though, how he underminingly took a little small shot at Chaim Bloom in this tweet. I'm going to sit there and show. Where out of all the Craig Breslow quotes we've gotten the last few weeks, his outlook on trades, moving prospects has stood out the most. It is a risk. I think that's exactly what I've learned. They don't all work out. If you wait for the perfect trade, you will likely never transact. I think these jobs require decisiveness and boldness and conviction, and also the humility that is never going to win every one. Obviously, need to see him act with this mindset, but it was reported one of the biggest issues during Chaim Bloom's era. So, I personally loved the small, because Chaim Bloom thought he needed to win every trade. So, I like how Breslow is more outspoken a little bit, to where, hey, if I make a trade and it doesn't work out, it's my fault. I'll take it pretty much, but I'm not going to sit there and try to, wait to fire, the shots on only the trades I think that I can win, because you're not going to get as many. So, next fair or foul. Juan Soto will be traded before the season starts. So, DC, let's start off with you there.
I'm going to go fair. I feel like they have to. That news report coming out, the loan they had to make. Everybody knows they got to shed payroll. It's crazy that what is the owner's worth like $3.2 billion or something like that, and he's taking out loans for cash problems. But everybody knows they need to make moves to shed payroll. Obviously, if somebody gives them an offer they can't refuse, they have to pull the trigger. So I'm going to go fair.
Okay. Hogdale?
I'm gonna say fair, and it really is like the fucking Thanos meme where it's like, all of that for Xander Bogaerts. Like you have bankrupted your team. You're literally like talking to the local Italian mob to give you a payday loan so that you can afford to field your baseball team. Like, what is wrong with you people? Oh man, yeah, I think it's fair. I think Juan Soto is absolutely gone, and even with the Padres back up against the wall, like in terms of finances and all the teams knowing it, they're still going to get a king's ransom for Juan Soto because he is that good. So, but I do think he's gone before the season starts.
I'm going to say foul. I think they're going to wait until the trade deadline. They're going to hold on, and they're going to try to sit there and try to get a little bit more out of him to sit there and help them out a little bit. So, just the teams right now that were out there, talking about trading for him. Like, I heard the Yankees. Like, who? Honestly, look at the Yankees farm system. Who the hell do they have to sit there and offer for Soto? Like,
I mean, it'd be Dominguez. It'd be like whoever. Who's that? Like one guy they're going nuts about the top end of their farm system. I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, but it's crazy how these teams think that it's just going to be easy to get Juan Soto. I don't. I think they're going to hold on. What do you say, DC?
We got Spencer Jones.
I believe it's Spencer Jones. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd have to be like him and Dominguez. I mean, and that might not even be enough. To me, like if you're the Red Sox and like the Padres are like an inch away for trading Juan Soto to the Yankees, you need to one up that offer immediately. Like absolutely no fucking chance you allow Juan Soto to be in your division. Like when you when you just get him yourself, you have more ammo.
I remember when we lost Teixeira to them in free agency, like long time ago. Dude, that was awful.
Oh yeah. I mean, shit, Teixeira. I mean, like, fuck. I mean, we got A-Rod. He was supposed to be a Red Sox.
Yep.
Well, here's a quick question. Do you think Soto going to the Yankees in a trade would put them even in a worse predicament? Because look at the payroll they have already with Cole, Stanton, Judge. Like, you can't add Soto there and there'd be like a quarter of your payroll, a third of your payroll.
So that's the thing that makes me think they aren't going to trade for him because, like, to me, like Hal Steinbrenner just isn't. He's not his father. Like, he's not willing to be Steve Cohen and like spend $350 million a year to field a baseball team. Like, I really don't think that's going to happen. Like, you have that Stanton contract as an anchor, that Rodon contract is an anchor. Cole's worth is what he's making, and Judge is worth what he's making, but it's still a gigantic size of your luxury tax money. And Soto's going to command like $40 million a year, potentially even more. Like, so yeah. I just don't know. Like, unless they're just like trading for him as a rental, but why would you do that? Especially like with the prospect capital you're going to have to give up.
Exactly. Okay, quick question. Last year's offseason was horrible on the aspect of the reports with Carrera. People saying that Aaron Judge was going to be a giant, and then all of a sudden, last second. Is there going to be someone this year that stands out with, they signed with this team, but then next thing you know, they're on 2 or 3 other teams?
I don't know how many of the free agents are represented by Scott Boras. That's basically what it comes down to.
I'm sitting there. I'm guessing over half because Boras just is ridiculous.
He's very prolific. He has a lot of clients. I'm looking him up right now because I just don't know.
What I sit there and thought was funny was how quickly he let Yoshida sign with the Red Sox, so he could get to, in my opinion, he could get to his more top tier talent. And
I think the thing with that Yoshida thing is just like the offer was just way more than every other team. I mean, you had the Blue Jays literally crying about this like the entire offseason. Like, they overpaid so much for him.
Like, I personally don't think that we overpaid. I think it was a fair market value for what his production was this year.
I think the Red Sox just like cut to the punch. Like, this is the market value for this player. We're willing to offer that now. We're not going to jerk you around. We've identified we want this guy on our team.
Yeah,
and other teams were butthurt about it.
Okay, next up for fair or foul, Aaron Nola will not be a Red Sox this season.
Will not? Is that you say will not?
Will not be a Red Sox this season. So, DC, let's start with you.
Just because I want to manifest Yamamoto and a guy like Corbin Burns coming here, I'm going to say fair. He will not be a Red Sox. Obviously, I want Yamamoto or, to trade for a guy like Burns or, Bieber, like Hogdale was saying. So I'm going to go fair.
Okay, Hogdale, what about you?
I just agree fair because in my wet dreams, the rotation is Yamamoto, Burns, Bayo as the 1, 2, 3, and it'll lead us into our World Series contention window starting next year. It's going to be epic.
I'm going to say it's foul because I'm going to sit there and one up it. It's going to be a Yamamoto, Burns, Nola, Bayo, Pavetta.
That'd be the most insane starting rotation in the entire league.
So, you've seen this year with the Texas Rangers how starting pitching can win you a championship. And they went out, they picked up, DeGrom in the offseason. They got Montgomery. They went and got Scherzer. So,
I really do wonder, I could really see this happening is Jordan Montgomery going to be the new Nate Eovaldi contract for our team?
Don't say that, Hall.
Well, but the thing is though, is that everyone screamed and shitted their pants saying that Nate was overpaid, but he wasn't.
No,
he was a consistent starter. He was there every year. He pitched, he barely missed a start. And also he was an animal in the playoffs. So, I feel is it going to be that again? Where, Montgomery, everyone's screaming about he's overpaid, but then he's just consistent and an animal in the playoffs.
Let's sit there and hope not, because, I like Nate. I sit there and I kind of wish that the whole transaction didn't happen the way it did last year, where we offered Nate a contract. He said, well, let's shop around. And then by the time he came back, Chaim Bloom's like, I already spent the money for you.
Yeah, Chaim Bloom's like, hey, Nate, here's the thing. We had to spend money on a real option like Corey Kluber.
Yeah. How do you tell somebody that? So sorry, well, we went and got Kluber and Paxton to replace you.
I don't know how that conversation goes. That's tough.
It's a bad deal. It's
So, but yeah, I in my dream world, Nola's there with me. So that's what I'm sitting there and picking. Last but not least, for fair or foul, the Red Sox will sign 2 starting pitchers to fill the need. Not trade. They will go in the free agent market and sign the 2 guys they want and need.
I'm going to say foul because I really think it's going to be 1 sign and 1 trade. To me, it just makes too much sense for them to explore the trade market aggressively. They have all the pieces required. Breslow's been hyping it up. I'm not scared to make the big trade. Okay, man. All right, buddy. Let's see. Use your big Yale education for the benefit of this team and actually make the fucking trade then.
DC, what about you?
You say, so I'll be foul. I'm going to say foul. So I had to see how you set up the question. I think they go 1-1. I think they sign 1. I think they move a bunch of pieces to get a number 1 guy. So I'm going to go foul. Basically echo what Hogdale said. I don't want to have to. Yeah, everything you just said.
I'm saying the same thing with foul. I think it's going to be a 1-1. Here's a question. Okay. You can only trade for 1. Kirby from Seattle, Burns from Milwaukee, and who's that young kid, Cabrera from the Marlins?
Yes. Yeah, Cabrera.
Which one would you trade for?
As much as I love Kirby for throwing that one knuckleball, he also bitched and complained about how they kept him in too late in the game. So I'm gonna have to say no, because he said that in Boston. I actually think he'd be run out of the city. So I'll go with Corbin Burns. To me, it just makes the most sense. He's established. We all know he's amazing, and just I love him. I want him on the team.
DC, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go Burns as well. He's proven, like Hogdale said, Cabrera scares me. He's been on my fantasy team, my keeper league for the last couple of years, and he just can't stay on the mound. Either gets hurt or he's out within, 2 to 3 innings because he's walking 5, 6, 7, 8 batters in a start. Obviously, he goes a proven commodity. And yeah, the not to, dog him, but Kirby kind of seems to have a fragile, mindset. He would get eaten alive in Boston.
Okay. My heart wants to say Burns, but my mind wants to sit there and say Cabrera, just because I'm pretty sure we could sit there and throw Bobby Dahlbeck in that trade and get him out of Boston, someplace where he could be used. And I think Miami would be great for him. He might get a tan. When DC and I, got to talk to him, or as I got to watch him walk by and he kind of sniffed me, I'm a little salty about him. So, let's get him in that trade, get him down to Miami, and take Cabrera.
Absolutely, I see it. I see the vision.
But okay, guys, let's go rapid fire. Hogdale, we're gonna let you final thoughts. Anything you want to sit there and tell everybody about the podcast, where to find it, and talk up our good friend Ed Han, who recently ball and chained it.
Yeah, man, got married. Good. Ed just he literally, I believe, just got married either earlier today or yesterday. He's going to be on his honeymoon. Happy for that guy. He's one of the best guys I know. Best guy I've ever met on the internet. But yeah, man, I mean, in terms of our podcast, it's just, it's Pod by the River. It's just at Pod by the River on all socials. Got a YouTube channel just made up there too. Follow us on Twitter because it's the degenerate platform that I use the most. But yeah, man, we just talk Red Sox. Red Sox and wider baseball. It's a fun time. And I think we put out a good product. That's just my opinion.
Chemistry is always the biggest thing that you need. Once you have that, the rest of the show just happens so easily.
Oh, yeah,
when DC and I first started this, then we brought on our good friend George. It was kind of like, I can speak for myself. DC can speak. George is a little bit older than us, but he kind of gelled right in with us quite easily. So,
yeah, George fucks, bro. George fucks.
Let's go. Love that.
The OG. So, but
I mean that out of respect, George. Just in case you never heard that before.
Exactly.
But no, guys, check out their podcast. It's great. Do you know you guys have a schedule of when each one drops?
It's just for right now, I believe it's every Sunday. But honestly, if I had to guess, if a major thing happens, we will make a video the next day, or either the day of or the next day for the off season. Otherwise, during next season, it'll probably be an episode after every series.
So, okay. DC, it was great seeing you again, like always. Any final thoughts?
Not too much. Obviously, thank you, Hogdale, for coming on. Been watching you, since we kind of started, and really excited for your new podcast. Congratulations to Ed. Yeah, just like Hogdale said, I'm really excited for this off season to see what happens. Hopefully, it's not a shit show, and I end up crying in March, going into the regular season. But yeah, just excited to see what we can do. I think we do make a pretty big trade, big splash in the trade market, and I think we do some signings that really put us back up there, because we need to execute this window immediately. That's coming up.
Yeah, DC, I want to apologize. No, I don't. I was going to say about the Xander Bogaerts. Hogdale, it was kind of funny. I sit there, DC and I used to work together, and, well, I told him, I came into work straight-faced, and I'm like, yo, dude, Xander Bogaerts got traded. Or no, he signed, what did I say? He signed with the Dodgers?
Yeah, the Dodgers.
Yeah, and the look on his face when he looked at me was complete and utter, like he lost his best friend.
It's literally the meme, like, just fell to my knees in the nightclub.
Yeah.
I get that.
It was awful.
And then all of a sudden, like he's walking around doing his stuff, and then I had to break it to him. I was just joking. and then what was it? The next morning, like, or that night, he went and signed with San Diego.
Yeah, I woke up the next morning and I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!" Yeah, it was a whirlwind of emotions. I was just took that new position, so I was trying to get my bearings, and then you have all that shit getting thrown at me, you know?
Yeah, and then I went and made a fantastic Xander Bogaerts video. It's DC's favorite, to Justin Bieber's "Where Are You Now That I Need You." So that was something that DC hates that song now. But hey, we can't have this offseason can't be nowhere near as bad as last offseason unless we end up trading Devers.
Oh God. Yeah, literally.
Could
I saw some guy talking about that. And I try not to jump in on arguments on Twitter because it can just be a never-ending shit show. But like, I had one typed out, but I deleted it. It was like therapy.
Yeah, it's like your opinion privileges have been revoked. You're no longer allowed to speak.
Yeah, it was just.
Could you imagine, like, Breslow's first thing he trades Devers?
Yeah, I think Red Sox fans would actually burn Fenway to the ground.
Okay. If say they trade Devers, but then the next day they sign Ohtani, does that make up for it?
No.
Yeah.
Because Rafi's our guy. Like, fuck, he's been here since he was literally a child, like a baby. Like, fucking, he's been here forever.
Okay. Well, guys, he's DC, our new good friend Hogdale, and I am the Ritt. Check us out next time on the Pesky Podcast.